Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rochelle. I have a blog and website called Feeding a Crowd. It's feeding-a-crowd because Feeding a Crowd was taken already. I'm happy to see you guys here. Thank you so much for being here. I have channels on on all Instagram, Facebook, here YouTube, obviously, because you're here, and Pinterest. Pinterest is where I put Insta recipes, and I like Pinterest. I use it myself. A lot less now, but I use it myself. So the reason I have my own website for recipes is because I don't like all the ads. I cannot stand going to Pinterest anymore and seeing all the ads. I can never seem to get to the recipe. And when they say jump to the recipe, you can jump to you don't actually get there. Most of the time, you're still assailed by so many pop-ups. It just drives me crazy. So my website is like a cookbook. You find a recipe, you can do it right there from your phone, your iPad or tablet or computer, and you can print it. I have an easy print button and the recipe is right there. So you can add it to your folders. You can add it to a real book, see cookbook, no ads, no pop-ups, right? Just the recipe. And that's the plan, Stan. So, which is why I have this website, is that you don't have to deal with the ads and pop-ups. So enough about that. Last week I posted yes. And so here in the chat, I have 4 recipes. Right now I'm going to talk about the eggnog recipe. Everyone asks me, why don't you cook the eggs? And it's a very, very valid question. I am quite sure that if you're pregnant, if you have a immune system, a suppressed immune system, I think you should be cooking the eggs. For everyone else, I think that here's the science behind it. I've known this for a long time, but I did research it, and here is why. Many people worry about using raw eggs and eggnog, but this recipe, my recipe, relies on sugar to cook the eggs chemically. And this is for real. When eggs are beaten with sugar, the sugar dissolves and binds with the water in the egg yolks. This process raises the temperature at which the eggs coagulate, effectively pasteurizing them. The alcohol in the eggnog, acts as an additive preservative, making this eggnog both safe and delicious. That's the reason. It's because the sugar dissolves and binds with the water in the egg yolks. This process raises the temperature at which the eggs coagulate, effectively pasteurizing them. But don't rely on me. Do your own research. I'm just saying that's why in my eggnog recipes, my eggs are not cooked. But both times when I whip the egg yolks, I add sugar. When I whip the egg whites, I add sugar, because that's the process of not cooking the eggs. This week, so on the other post here, I have my salmon Alfredo on fettuccine, and it's one of my most popular recipes. So this week, from my Italian classic cookbook, I'm going to read a small excerpt of fettuccine Alfredo. Okay. So the most famous cream sauce for pasta is commonly called Alfredo. This rich sauce of cream, butter, and Parmesan cheese is named for a restaurant in Rome that popularized the dish at the 1939 World's Fair in New York. Wow, 1939. When fettuccine Alfredo is good, it is worth every calorie. But the sauce is often thick and gloppy. At other times, it is too runny and just sits at the bottom of the bowl. So we wanted to create a foolproof sauce that was thick enough to coat pasta from end to end without becoming dry and gloppy. So at this point, the book, what they do is, for the rest, this is 2 pages big, people. See? Starts here, and the recipe is here, right? So they talk how they went to the process of creating the perfect Alfredo sauce here, which is awesome, which is pretty much what I use. They make it with egg pasta, which I do like, but it's not my favorite. But yeah, so here's their recipe. And so in the link here, I have my salmon Alfredo recipe. And the reason I love it so much is because when I cook a salmon, the thin part at the end tends to become super overcooked. Even if I fold it over, I just don't get what I want from it. So I tend to just chop it off, freeze it, and then use it in a quick supper meal, on salads, and or in this case, in the fettuccine alfredo with the salmon on it. I poached the salmon in the alfredo sauce. It makes it absolutely divine. So yes, so here's to this book, my Italian classic, very worn book. I want to talk to you today about another very worn and well. It's all over my website and books. Got it on my daughter's Joy of Cooking book. Ta-da! This book is used. In fact, it's so well used that it's falling apart like others of my books, right? And this book is an encyclopedia. If we don't, this is the Instagram of days past. If we didn't have Instagram or Pinterest or Google to like find recipes, you use this book because it says everything. It tells you how to butcher meat. It tells you how to set a table for a buffet. It tells you when, why, and how to use utensils, the place settings. I mean, who does that? I mean, we don't even know about this. All different place settings for how much food you have, who you have, how many service you have, So yeah, this book, whoops, is amazing. And I use it, my best bread recipe is there, white bread recipe, the butterscotch brownies. So for real, oh my God, I love this book. Oops, here we go. Butterscotch brownies. I always triple the recipe because I have a super duper big pan. So it makes enough for 20 or 30 people. It is feeding a crowd. But yes, this book I've used for everything. Oh, they even teach you how to use chopsticks. It's just, this book must have taken, actually, I know for a fact that it took them years to create this book. And if you watch Julie and Julia or just the Julia Child movie, you understand that the woman that made this book also worked with Julia Child. So this is why this book exists. It's an encyclopedia in itself. The other recipe I posted in the chat here was because this week I posted the meatballs recipe, and that meatball recipe is all important. I use it so much. It's gluten-free, right? And because there's no bread, I replace it with ricotta. And it's a good crowd pleaser. It's also very good for freezing. And I know I mentioned it last week, but you make your meatballs, then you freeze them in portions, and you can use them in tomato sauce, sweet and sour sauce. You can use them. I use them at meatballs in a sandwich, and they're also great in spaghetti sauce and soups. They make the best soups. Like an Italian wedding soup. They're just great in a soup. You just need 2, 3, and some spinach, a good broth, and veggies, and you have a soup like for a meal. So that's why I posted that one there. And this week, I also sent out my pinwheel cookie. Pinwheels are an easy cookie to make. They're super fun. They look complicated, but they're not. So on my recipe, I have a really simple diagram of how to make it. Hey, please, people, send me some likes. And if you have questions about anything I'm speaking at the moment, later, or whenever, please post it in the chat. Thank you so much, because YouTube likes. Yes, that's right. So I posted that recipe, and it's a shortbread. So shortbread is 2 ingredients. It's butter, flour, and sugar. That's all it is. In my recipe, I added white chocolate and chocolate to each part, right? Because a pinwheel, you have the white dough and you have the brown dough. So I added chocolate chips to one side, to one dough, and then white chocolate to the other. It makes the pinwheel a bit creamier and a little less like shortbread, but it still keeps, in fact, I have some here. It still keeps that same amazing texture that, here we go, see? It still keeps that really, really good texture, and they're very pretty. They keep for quite a while because they're so simple. Look at this. So much fun to eat with tea. So yeah, so I always make those during the holidays because they keep well, and they're so easy to make with 6 ingredients. The 6 ingredients is a pinch of salt. So it's 5 ingredients plus a pinch of salt. So in my title, I said I want to talk about 2024 and 2025, right? Because we're moving from 2024 to 2025. Um, and I don't know if you guys plan anything for the New Year's. I'm not a big person on New Year's, so I had to think about this. I don't like have. I just don't make resolutions. To me, life is a series of resolutions or things you want to achieve, and I don't never did it on the New Year's. But if there's something, because I had to think about it, I think that I want to do in the coming year is I want to grow my audience by 200%, which means I need to get people on here. It means that I need more people on Instagram, more people on Pinterest, and on my website. And thank you guys. I got 1,500 hits in one day during the holiday. And then around that, about 1,000 a day during the holidays, which is great because I need more than that. But even for one day, just for me, yeah, like of course, everyone was looking for holiday recipes, which I'm starting to get plenty. So I need to like work on that. So if there was anything I want, I think I know I want to do is grow my audience on all my platforms, which means, unfortunately, because I'm not really strong at it right now, is Reels, but really short. Instagram Reels are 60 seconds. That's not very long. That's just long enough to laugh at myself, probably trip on my own 2 feet, and then it's 60 seconds is over. But I plan on working on that. So I need to be more focused on getting everything together for 60-second reels for Instagram. Facebook gives you more leeway. YouTube just figures it out. YouTube, depending on how big your videos are, they place it in, long, like a video, reel, or shorts and lives. So, YouTube takes care of that for me. So yeah, and podcasts. I want to create podcasts. I love podcasts myself. It's what I use when I walk. I like to listen to something that's soothing and fun and not energetic. Yeah, that's uplifting when I walk. So I really want to do that. I think that would be nice, if my subscribers could have something to listen to while they're either in the kitchen, taking a walk and getting inspired for this week's recipes or an upcoming party recipe. Um, so, yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do this year. And the discovery of the week for me was fun. So I always have a lot of sourdough discard because, well, sour. And by the way, my sourdough starter, I feed it every 2 days right now, and it's super happy. But I still have plenty of discard. So this is my thing now. I just took the discard. This one's going to taste a bit different. They're never the same. So I take the sour discard. I pour it into a cookie sheet pan on parchment paper. And I cook it for about 25 minutes at 350. After adding whatever spices I want on it, salt, pepper, and herbs. And this time, before I poured it out, I put about a tablespoon of honey in the dough. And I don't know why I did that, but I thought some sweetness would be fun, like to create a sweet and salty. So when this dries, it's going to curl up. It's not quite all cooked. See, it's a bit soft. By tomorrow, it's going to shrink. It's going to become a really funny form because it's going to, do its thing. And then I break it up and it makes for amazing crackers to have with, I was thinking a nice salmon tartar with this cracker would be awesome because the cracker keeps a certain kind of acidity to it, almost as if I put lemon juice in it. Well, it's sourdough. So I think any tartar, but salmon tartar, tuna tartar, like it would be amazing because of the crispiness of the cookie and the softness of tartar, right? Whatever crunch you have in it. But we had it with cheese and it's delicious. So the discovery for me is that it's sourdough, discard, cookies. Yeah, instead of buying them because they're expensive. They're like $6 for a tiny box. Like you get, a little bag inside a box and the bag is this big. So these cost me basically not much. And they're easy to make. The kids, they're a bit too crispy for the young kids, but everyone else loves them. So that's my discovery. of um, of the week. And if I was going, do you guys have any questions? Please feel free, either about these cookies, about the cookbooks. If there's anything you'd like to talk about next time in next week, like if there's something that is not working, do you want more crock pot recipes because it's winter? Quick, easy fixes to leftovers, because it's leftover season. It's not just a holiday season. Um, and tricks for hosting. How do you host and not absolutely go mad? By the way, I'm hosting tomorrow morning brunch for women I love in my life, and I feel I should be more stressed. Thankfully, I'm really lucky, and most of them offered to bring something along. I'm going to make some sanshuka. It's something I had in Detroit at the Henry. Yes, at the Henry, a hotel that I absolutely love. There's so much art in it everywhere. And it's Indian dish with a based. So it's an Indian dish you create. It's almost like a tomato stew that you create, and you cook your eggs in it. And there's feta and there's veggies and there's a bit of orange juice. That's his secret, because of course I had to go see the chef. So I went to at first they didn't want me to do that, but eventually they let me talk to the chef. And I said, what's your secret? Because I've seen the recipes, but you do something to your recipe because there's something different. He adds about a quarter cup of orange juice. And that's what makes his different from all the others I've tasted. So I think I'm going to make that dish for tomorrow morning. And of course, some sourdough something, because, well, I have sourdough everywhere. So if you want to talk about hosting and if there's something stressing, please do ask me and don't worry about it. I can also answer later. You can also text me in Instagram. I'm willing to answer and talk and chat there. So, that would be nice. So I think that's going to be it for today. I know I need to stop saying. So again, my name is Rochelle. I have a blog called feedingacrowd.com. And I hope to see you guys around. Don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to subscribe and send me some love. Thank you and have a wonderful day.